Welcome to Meet Houston Missions podcast. I'm Paul Cannon, your host from Simmons and Fletcher. The podcast here is about connecting people and volunteers with local missions who need them and people who want to help meet their needs. So if you want to get involved in a organization like that, this is a great place to learn about them. Today, my guest is Ruhamah Rylander, and her husband David is with her. She is the founding / executive director of Keturah's Haven. And she's going to tell us a little bit about what Keturah's Haven is all about. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm not doing badly at all. Looking forward to speaking with you.
Awesome. David, glad to have you as well.
Yes, it's good to be able to share some of our ministry mission with people. So
that is awesome. To this. Well, tell us a little bit about how Keturah's Haven came about.
Keturah's Haven came about from my volunteering at the pregnancy center here in Katy. In 2014, while I was mentoring a young woman who was 8 months pregnant and was about to become homeless.
Oh, wow.
While I was talking to her, her story was so horrendous that it left me crying. And at the same time, as a Christ follower, the Holy Spirit just whispered to me, you have to start a home for homeless pregnant women in Katy. Of course, that was not anything that I want to hear. No, I said no. I said, no, Lord, it could not be me. And I sort of ignored the feeling. But throughout my whole time of volunteering there for the 4 hours, the feeling never left me. While I was going home from work, Matthew West's song came on the radio. I mean, God has a sense of humor. Do something. Don't know if you all know the song. Do something.
Okay.
I stretched my hand and I turned it off because I do not want God to tell me to do what he said, what I thought I heard him say. So I turned the radio off. But the Holy Spirit said to me, turn it back on. So I turned it back on. By the time I reached home, I was bawling, crying in the car, bawling tears. And I went home, and my husband asked me, how was the day? I couldn't answer. I went into my room, knelt down, asked the Lord, really, you're really talking to me? And he said, yes. So I found a few names of people who I know, who they were in the field of mentoring. They had more experience. They were doing it longer than me. And I said, Lord, why can't you ask so-and-so? If you ask such and such a person, I will gladly help. But don't ask me to do it because I don't know how to do it. And he said, I'm choosing you.
I think sometimes God likes to work through the least qualified people because that's how he shows his glory, you know?
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about what Keturah's Haven does then.
At Keturah's Haven, we take in young ladies who are homeless and pregnant between the ages of 18 and 30.
Wow.
And we get them hooked up with mentors, with counseling, and life skill classes, trying to get them to get their lives turned around and get out of the situation that brought them there to us in the first place.
So most of the women who come in, they're coming from abusive relationship, prostitution, alcoholism, drug abuse, and they're kicked out by their family members, or they are kicked out by the men who used to prostitute them. When they get pregnant, they don't have any use for them again. Some of them live on the street. We have a few whose parents kick them out of the house because they don't agree to do abortions. They might get pregnant for a man who they don't it's not up to the parent standard. So the parent will either bribe them, if you will do an abortion, I will send you to college, I'll buy you a car, I'll get you an apartment.
Oh, wow.
But just do an abortion. And a few of these girls refused, and so good of them, they said, we're not going to abort our babies. We are going to have our babies. So those women come in, and as David said, they come in, and most of them, 98% of them, they have no life skill. They don't know how to. And this is one of the areas where we struggle most of all with them, the life skills, to have them to learn to do something in the house. Um, Clean the house, make your bed, wash your clothes, get a job, cook, learn to cook, and so on. Be respectful. None of those things, most of them don't come with it. So we have to get people come in to help them to to establish those habits.
Wow.
They stay in the house anywhere from 3 to 5 months, because they might come in when they're 3 months pregnant, or we try to take them in on the 6 months, because we have to transition them, and when transitioning takes a long time. Many of them will come in, and this is where our program comes in now, where we're going to need funding and help and volunteer, because when they come in, and it's time for them to be transitioned with their babies, because our facility was not developed to keep them with the baby. They have to go back in the condition where they came from. They might get a government apartment, and the government apartments are generally in the drug areas, the areas where they're drugged, where they're prostituted, where the drugs come to them at their doorway, where they go back with the abusive family member or the abusive boyfriend. They're coming from homes where they're sexually molested by their fathers, by their uncles, by their brothers, So and they have to return. Many of them decide they won't return to those places. They would rather go back on the street to live instead of going back,
Understandable.
because they're coming from hell, they call it. Yes.
Well, let me ask you this. So, you have a facility that you take these ladies in at, correct?
hmm
And how many total do you house at any given moment?
We can house up to 6 women at any given time.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, um, I was a little confused on the duration. It sounds like you take them in while they are pregnant, and
Yes.
then transition them out back into the world after they've had the baby at some point.
So yes, so they come in, and we help them to be transitioned before they have the baby. So
Understand.
we have that transition place established wherever they're going to go back. So when they go into the hospital, we take them into the hospital. The ambulance will come and pick them up. They will go into the hospital. Their belongings are already transferred to where they're going to go, or we will take them to where they're going. But after they leave to go to the hospital to have their babies, we don't take them back. We have now, as we are sitting here, we have now started remodeling one area of the house where we will be able to accommodate three mothers with their babies
Oh wow.
from the time they have the baby until the baby is a year old.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're trying to do this while they're in the program, the transitional part of the program. We call it the aftercare. They must have a job. They must um, have worked enough to buy a car, and the babies must be in daycare. If they're not working, they must be going to school, but the babies have to be in daycare so they can continue their education. Because some of them who come in here, they have their GED, or they want to have their GED. Some of them want to go in nursing, some want to go in some of the healthcare, and they're all girls who have the ability, most of them, to have a career. Yes.
So it sounds like you have certain rules on who can stay in the house, in the sense that they've got to be working towards bettering
Yes.
themselves in one manner or
Yes.
another, whether it's
Yes.
school or training of
Yes.
some sort.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome. And so you indicated also you bring some people in that kind of help you with that transitioning program from time to time. What sort of people are we talking about?
Well, right at the moment, we would love an attorney. who
Mhm.
can do some pro bono for us, because we have women who come in here who have had crimes like when they're 16 and they're now in their 20s. I think the statute of limitation or whatever it is has passed, so they would love their records to be expunged because it holds them back from getting a good job, from getting a career. We also need people who can come in and do life skill classes, um, help them with they come and teach them to cook. They come and help them to do um, financing, to take care of their finances, because that's one of the things we find with them. They don't know how to budget, how to spend. If they have, the money comes, so it goes. They have no discipline. So we find people come in, they do parenting classes. They have to attend parenting classes. They have to do Bible studies, to learn how to draw closer to God, because we are a Christian organization and we want them to know that they have to put God first in their lives, because He will help them to choose good companions. We also have people who come in and help them with, if we don't send them outside, help them with drug addiction, those who are addicted to drug. We have classes where they can go, or we have people who come in to talk to them about that. Yes. Okay.
Okay, wonderful. Tell us a little bit about some of your volunteer opportunities that you have around the house, and in as far as for people coming in who can help teach and things.
Okay. So right now, oh, you want to
No,
talk about
go
that?
ahead. No, go ahead.
Right now, we want to have a volunteer. We want to have, as I said, we would love to have an attorney
Right.
who can give us a few hours. It's not a long, you know what I mean? Because I said there are women in here who have lost their identity. They have to. We have one young lady in here who she was adopted. Her name was changed 4 times.
Hmm.
So
My
she
gosh.
had no social security card. She can't get it because they don't know what to do. Fortunately for her, she was finally adopted before she came in the program. So her adopted father was able to get that. But we have women in here who they move from state, out of state, and they come here, and they can't have their identity is very hard to be established, because you know what I mean. Okay, so we need someone who works on that. We also need someone who the budgeting class, you know what I mean. We need someone who can come and teach budgeting in here. We also financial
Financial
classes,
management.
financial management. We also need someone who can come and teach GED inside here, because there are few of them who desire to have their GED. So those are, and we also need someone who has enough time to help us to transport them from place to place, because they have government transportation to take them to the doctor's appointment, but that is all they have. We have to transport them to and from work. Because of that, we have to limit the work area to 10 miles out from where we are, because we would have to transport them across town, and we can't do that. We don't live where there's a bus route. So we need someone who can arrange that for us, or do it for us. You know, we need someone who can come in and do um, a cooking class, because many of them know nothing about peeling a potato. Yes. Yes. We need people
Mhm.
who will come in to help them, just to show them that you're going to have a baby, and you have to keep your area clean for the baby, because
Right.
babies crawl on the floor, and they open their eyes wide when I tell them that the babies have to crawl. And if the floor is not clean, the babies are going to eat what is on the floor. So generally thing like that, it's not heavy things that we want. It's
Mhm.
just the normal everyday thing that they were not taught. Many of these girls never grew up with their mothers. Their mothers were in jail, their mothers were on drug, their mothers were prostituted. So they didn't have anyone to tell them, pick up after yourself, flush the toilet when you go in the toilet, you know what I mean? Things like that, they're not told. So we need people in the home to teach generally life skills. Yes.
And a lot of the young ladies we have come in have never had fathers, or they've had abusive fathers. And it's really hard for them to accept a man as an authority figure, like a father and a husband. And so
Understandable.
that's another part, is modeling a husband and wife and family. That everybody's assigned chores, and we have a deep clean that we do every Saturday, and the young ladies take turns cooking meals.
Oh, good.
Everybody does breakfast and lunch on their own, but we have a family dinner in the evening, and then we have as Ruhamah said, we have Bible study in the evening.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No worries. So as far as, I'm sure the mission has needs as far as supplies go, with that many mouths to feed and people around there, what sort of needs do you have regarding donations and that sort of thing?
Before we go to that, the donation, we really would like to have a father figure. If there's a man who is listening and he has a heart to work with young women who need fathering, we want a few men to come in, because as David said, he is the only man example that they have ever seen. A man and a woman living and not fussing and not fighting. They have never experienced that. They have never experienced a man and a woman, because we set the dining table, proper knife and fork style, and have them sit around. They have never seen that in their lives. So we need a few men who can, we call it a father's afternoon. We need a man or two or three who would come in and take turns once a week and do a father-daughter class with them, for them to know what they are to look for in a man, because they have no idea what they're to look for. They're looking for.
Sounds like they haven't had a lot of good examples in their lives.
No, they don't. They never had examples. They start on the street from their 15 because nobody was there to supervise them, so they run away. So at the moment, what we need as donation is, we are in the process of, as we said, upgrading the house.
Okay.
We also are we are also thinking of establish an additional home, because the need is great, especially the transitional. So we want to establish the transitional, where we have them, when they leave here, when they leave this facility, they go to the other facility. Because Paul,
I see.
when we send them back, we have a young woman who leaves the house. She has twins. And she got one of the government house. My heart is filled. I'm talking about this. And she leaves her twins in the apartment and go to do drugs. She said she put on her security system and leave her 9-month-old twins in there.
Gosh.
So when we have them around us, we have lots of support. And what we want is the program to be extended, so the support that we give them here can continue for a year, because we feel that after a year, they will get something. Something will be passed on to them. 3 months or 5 months alone can't do it. So we need to have the program established to a long term. At least they can
So
say,
future goal, I guess, would be to have a partner program of some sort that takes them on after they've had the baby and they've had that transitional time. Instead of transition them back to where they went, try and transition forward to something that keeps them in a positive direction.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
We're one of the few programs that is a real second chance. because we will take young ladies in that have had criminal backgrounds
Mhm.
and or are coming out of drug usage, and several other programs. Man, they won't accept them at that
Yes.
means.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And
And those are the people that are really in trouble right there.
Yes.
yes,
Right. Those are the hardest one to find placement because they've had a background, you know what I mean? So we do background checks when they come in because we have to do it because we
Safety.
are on a Christian Katie's premier Christian private school. And it's one of the requirements who we take in the house. And people have their children wandering around. So we have to know who we have in the program. Yes.
Okay. Did you say
So
you're located at a school? Is that what you said?
we're at the school premises, yes. Faith West Christian School Academy.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And now are you affiliated with them somehow, or how is this?
no,
We are not affiliated, but you know, it's a God thing. We're their tenants. They rented us a place on their property.
Oh, how
Yes.
nice. How nice. Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. So how do people in need find your mission?
We are associated with the hospitals, all the major hospitals in Katy and in Houston. So the social workers or the case managers call us.
Gotcha.
The churches, we're associated with churches. We're associated with all the pregnancy centers, and the pregnancy centers will send us them, or they will go on. They Google us and they find us. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. You guys are located in the Katy area, obviously.
Yes.
Do you guys do any kind of local fundraisers or events during the
Yes.
year? What sort of fundraisers and events do you guys have?
So coming up on the 28th of October, we are having our annual games night, and this is going to be a bingo night
Okay.
where people come and play games, and you know we just charge. We do a small entrance fee where they come and play games, and we have donations boxes all over the place. They can do donations. We also have our major fundraiser in February. Next year, it will be February the 23rd. We will be having our annual fundraising gala. It's an auction and dinner.
Mhm. Okay.
So we have that every year. Those are our two main events that we have throughout the year. We would like to add a golf tournament, but we haven't got anyone who yet offered to sponsor us. So maybe this is where your organization comes in, or somebody who's hearing. We want that to happen because we want the program to continue and we want to help these women.
I see
Yes.
a lot of these golf events and stuff like that. You may be running out of golf clubs that are going to allow any more sponsorships because it seems like every time I turn around they do it. But yeah, it's always good to get some kind of a big event going that community wide. I've seen recently there's another organization did a clay shoot, which I thought was interesting. I like they were looking for something different to do, but yeah, that would
Oh,
draw
okay.
a
So
new
we're
crowd.
looking. It doesn't have to be a golf. We're thinking of doing the run, the the
5K.
the 5K. You know, what I mean, something like that. However, someone who is skilled at that, we don't have the persons who can do it. So if someone wants to volunteer and come in and help us to put on a big fundraiser, we're welcome. We welcome them.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Okay. If let's see, if somebody is trying to reach your organization to either be a part of it, be adopted into it, I would say, or to be a volunteer, how do they get in touch with you guys?
Our we are on the website.
Okay.
It's Keturah's www.keturahshaven.org, and they
Okay.
can reach us at info@keturahshaven.org or Ruhamah at keturahshaven.org or David@keturahshaven.org.
Wonderful.
We're on the website. And our telephone numbers are there on the website. Okay.
Okay. Wonderful.
Do you want me to give the numbers?
Sure.
Okay. Our office number is 832
437 8529.
And my cell phone is 832-217-4892. And David's phone is
832-244-0657.
yes.
It sounds like y'all have quite an open door policy as far as people reaching out to you then, because you're giving
Yes.
out the cell phones, everything. And that's great.
Our
That's what
mailing address is Keturah's Haven, P.O. Box 5261, Katy, zip
77491.
77491. Yes.
so if
So
people want to send in donations, is that something they can do from the website as well, or they just need to mail it in?
They can do it from the website or they can mail it.
yeah. Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, great deal.
We have it set up that they can reach us from anywhere. Yes. Okay.
Perfect. Well, I think we've covered how to get in touch with you. We've discovered your needs. We've talked about your fundraisers, and we've talked about what you guys do. Is there anything else about Keturah's Haven that we haven't covered that you guys would like to go over and tell people about?
As David said, we are second chance. We don't penalize people for their past crimes or their past behaviors, because especially when these behaviors are made when they're teenagers, and when we hear where they're coming from, if you were not told that something is wrong, nobody tell them that something is wrong, the things that they do, so they did not know better.
Right.
So when they come in the house, we are teaching them how to go about life better. And as you said, we have a program, the transition program that we are beginning now. It's for those who have the desire to do better. We really don't keep those who don't have the desire to change. If they're not ready to change, we have to let them go, because our motto is that the integrity of Keturah's Haven must be withheld. We don't want a resident who's not ready to change to bring down one who's ready to change, or take up the space for someone who would be coming in and is dying to have a chance to change. Yes.
And we have had so many calls in the past few weeks of women who are looking for a place. And unfortunately, with our remodeling project going on, we have taken away some spaces that before this we would have had. So it's very important for us to get the transition situation and the remodeling finished. I have teams coming in to help with that work.
You need more mind. You need more manpower. Yes.
And so it's to make it go forward and keep everyone safe.
Yes.
And help them all grow. And this we've seen, so we have a lot of testimonies on our website, and in all of our quarterly newsletters are linked to the website as well. And there are testimonies and volunteer shout outs on those that we should put out there. And so people can donate. And if a young lady hears about us, she can go on the website and apply right there.
Yeah, we have an intake questionnaire on the website that they have to fill out first and answer a few questions for us to get to know a little about them. Before I go, I want to share a story with you. We
Okay.
have one young lady who comes back here. She's been coming back. She stayed in the program for 5 months. We have one room upstairs where we bend back and would keep a young woman with her baby. And she has to be exceptionally do exceptionally well. So this young lady, we sent her to one of her church brothers and sisters. She stayed there for a little time, and then, wanting to be independent, she went and got applied for a government house or a house that she's been assisted to pay. She's paying the rent. She got the rent paid. She's there on her own, working because she got a job from home. But she got lonely, got back into trouble. Went and she didn't leave the house. Some creep, I have to say that, took her drug. And she went back on drug. Her mom, who just called me a while ago, who is in Dallas, called her and realized something was wrong and told her to call me. And one of the other support who helps her, because she was still on probation, asked her to call me. So she called me crying because she was supposed to go and do a drug test, a random drug test, and she could not go because drug is in her system. So my husband had to hurry. She called me crying and said she's going to lose her baby. And she had already lost 2 of her children. So my husband hurriedly went and picked her up. We had her here for about 3 or 4 days. So every weekend now, we have to be taking her back in the program. We have to Uber her from where she lives. She come on a Friday evening. She stays Friday night, Saturday night. Sunday, we take her to church. And Sunday evening, we have to take her back. Because we are trying, this girl has so much potential. So we are trying to keep her away from the influences that are out there. That is why it is so important for us to have the transitional home. Because if we have the transitional home here and we have one 10 minutes away, we have the support. It's hard to drive 45 minutes to visit them. So when they're around us, they are still getting the structure and still getting the support from our volunteers. So with this plain mind, I'm asking, please, those who have a heart for picking up someone who has the potential to become a useful citizen, please help us.
Yeah. Amen. Well, it sounds like you guys are doing wonderful work there. Thank you so much for taking time to hop on, David and Ruhamah. I really appreciate it. Again, that's executive director and founders of Keturah's Haven. Thank you so much for being on. This is Paul Cannon with Meet Houston Missions. If you have a mission organization and would like to be a part of this show, please reach out. You can call me at 713-932-0777 or email me directly at pcannon@simmonsandfletcher.com, and you spell it all out. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Paul, and have a wonderful day.